like to think most of the staff are here today to listen to the AGM, but I know that's not the case. So, Mr. Ferruccio Tonini, come on up. Thank you for the standing applause at the back. Ferruccio, 50 years. Wow. You commenced your training at what was then the Wangaratta and District Base Hospital on the 5th of February 1973. You were the first male nurse to graduate from our hospital, along with James Smith and Ray Peruzzo. A picture of this is proudly part of their historical display in the main hallway of our hospital near the cafeteria. In the 140-year book From Base and Beyond, you said, where once the hospital appeared secluded from society, it was now becoming a reflection of society. Do you remember saying that? So much change in healthcare and at our hospital over 50 years. In the past week, you have reflected that the only thing that hasn't changed in the main is the main stairwell in the foyer. Stairs you run up and down multiple times every shift. What also has not changed is your commitment. It has been nothing short of unwavering and reflects your exceptional work ethic and your compassion for others. It is difficult to measure the countless lives that have been positively affected by your care and service, and this extends to our workforce as well. You have been and still are a mentor to many. Your problem-solving skills are second to none. You're someone who gets into it and gets it done. You're a team player with a great sense of humour and a sharp mind and spirit. You are a practical thinker and, to put it simply, a great operator. What remains important in addition to all of these skills is the person you are. You are kind, empathetic, genuine and compassionate. Traits of a great nurse, but also traits of a great person. Today we congratulate you on 50 years of service. Service that still continues today. We don't know how long. We know it can't last forever, but that's for another day. So today is our opportunity to say thank you. We've got a short video with some messages from some special people that we'd like to share with you, and then we have a presentation to make and we'll invite you to say a few words. So we might pop off the stage so we can watch.
I know Ferruccio in his role as Associate Director of Nursing, working after hours, hospital after hours and weekends. I had the pleasure of working a Saturday morning with him and shadowing him to understand what he did, and from an executive point of view, some other hospital runs after hours and weekends, which was a great experience. The values that he brings to North East Health are his commitment, his loyalty, his kindness. He's very respectful, he's so helpful, he's so committed, and just has the welfare of North East Health at heart, and all the staff, and in particular the nursing staff. And I know he supplies them with lots of lollies on weekends, just to keep them buoyed up. It's lovely to see. He's a really kind man and a great nurse. We're very lucky to have him for 50 years.
He's very passionate. Anything that he believes or thinks, he's very passionate about it. And the one thing is, he will always get whatever is needed done. Very impressed with him. 50 years of nursing. He's never owned a mobile phone. Wasn't interested in doing text messages or anything. So over the last year, he has gradually started to do it. He doesn't stop. On shift. Doesn't stop.
I've been working with Ferruccio a very long time, so I've actually spent more time with Ferruccio in years than what I've been married to my husband. So congratulations, Ferruccio, on making it to 50 years. He's an amazing man, Ferruccio. He's, how I see him, he's kind of the foundation rocks in this organisation that I think no matter what happens, Ferruccio meets that challenge every single day. And I think that that's one of the things that he taught me when I went into the ADON position a few years ago, was that what that role was. And he taught me a lot about leadership and decision making and backing your decisions and things. He's absolutely an inspiration to me. But as I said, I think he holds his place together on many days. He's rock solid. So I congratulate you, Ferruccio, and I look forward to a lot more of those robust discussions that we've had over the years. So good luck and well done, Ferruccio.
Hey, Ferruccio, it's Jason. Congratulations on 50 years of dedicated service. I remember when I started here 20 years ago, within the first few days, you became a near and dear friend, and we've been like that for a long time. So I'm very proud to call you my friend and a colleague, and I would go as far as saying that from a male nursing perspective, you've been a great mentor for me. I love the way that you align yourself with the values every day. You know the place better than most. There's nothing that I think you can't do, and we just love you to bits. And congratulations again, Ferruccio.
I met Ferruccio in 2016 when I started in the role as Exec Director of Clinical Services here at North East Health Wangaratta. Some of the things I really remember about Ferruccio that are true to this day is certainly his smiling face, his relationships that he has with staff, his ability to make a joke, but above all, I think knowing that the hospital and the patients in our care are in safe hands every time he's on a shift has really given me great confidence. And really just want to take this opportunity to say thank you, Ferruccio, for an incredible 50 years of service to North East Health. I know I'm really proud of your achievement as leader, so congratulations and thank you.
There is nothing that Ferruccio doesn't know about this organisation, whether it be what's happening in CSSD, what's happening with the plumbing, what's happening with pharmacy. Whatever he needs to do, he can just turn his hand, and he's much more than just a nurse. He is the biggest problem solver that I've ever met.
It's a real pleasure to present you with a plaque recognising your 50 years of service, and we will also got a gift and some flowers, but perhaps we'll let you say a few words before I pass those over to you. So the mic's all yours, Ferruccio. Enjoy.
Well, good afternoon all. First of all, I've got to thank all those people that said those wonderful things. I sort of checked the pulse here. I thought perhaps I died. It was the memorial, whatever. Thank you all very, very much. One thing I must say though, with Alison, with that report, I was just thinking, if that report was being given to the people 50 years ago, that they would have wondered what they were listening to. To give you a rough idea, when I started in 1973, there were 35 more beds in the hospital than what there are today, and yet, so we've got 35 less beds, and yet look at, and as for community work, we had district nursing, we had a day hospital, Meals on Wheels I think existed, but that was about it. The psychiatric unit was in Beechworth, Mayday Hills and Kerford was in Beechworth, whereas today, listening to the report today, it should be compulsory for all the residents of Wangaratta to listen to the reports, because quite often we get so many complaints, but if they knew what the hospital did, I'm sure they wouldn't say anything. They should all be very, very, very proud of this organisation. It was a wonderful report, Alison. Thank you very much. It's a little bit difficult, like I've written down so many things over the last few days thinking, what should I say? I thought, well, perhaps what I should do is just paint a picture of what 50 years ago was like. Obviously, I remember the things from further back, but change was always incremental. So it started down here and it's sort of gone right up there. So 50 years ago, as I said, there were 35 more beds. The hospital was basically run by the GPs. There were some specialists, but basically the GPs sort of held the power within the hospital. All the staff wore uniforms that were readily identifiable, whereas today everybody wears scrubs. Whether you're a doctor or a registered nurse or an enrolled nurse, you're all wearing scrubs. So the patients that come in from outside, they probably find it difficult to know who they're talking to. But that's been a change that perhaps isn't the best, but perhaps it would be good to have some sort of identification. Put the glasses on, I'm losing me. And the other thing is, nursing was state funded in those days, so all the training was done within hospitals, and the hospital was basically the employees were basically students. Most of the workers were student nurses in those early days. Now, emergency is a very topical subject these days. The word ramping in those early days meant the adaptation you would make to stairs when you needed to push a wheelchair. Ramping didn't mean what it means today. And to give you an idea of how did the ambulance service work in those days, basically there weren't very many ambulance officers. You would have one person who was the first on call, and they would have the wireless going in their home 24 hours a day, and there'd be a second on call. If you worked in emergency, you possibly got 3 ambulances in the day that came in, and on night duty, to give you an idea today, night duty is staffed morning, afternoon and night with the same number of staff. In those early days, night duty wasn't even staffed. You might get 1 or 2 people that would ring the bell that would come in. That's how much things have changed over the years in terms of emergency. Technology. Now the reason we needed 35 extra beds was because if you broke your leg in those days, you'd be in hospital for 6 weeks. Today, you're in hospital for 2 or 3 days. Obviously there were no computers, there were no iPhones, there were no Omnicells. All the stock was sterilised. There was no disposable items. Everything had, and so there was, everybody was had to be very strict, because there wasn't the amount of equipment around like there is today. Everything had to be sterilised in the central sterilising department. Sick leave. There were no nursing ratios in those earlier days. Sick leave was never replaced, so whereas today it's mandatory, you have to replace them, and that can be a challenge. It was really interesting, particularly for me to reflect back now that I've been here for 50 years. If you were 40 or 45, you were considered an old person in those early days, which is very interesting. Security is another topical issue these days. There was no security, and the other interesting point was if there were fracas or whatever, we would never call the police because it was hammered in to us that it was breach of confidentiality. So irrespective of what happened in the wards, we sort of handled it ourselves in various ways. Now, I won't say any more other than people have been saying to me, Ferruccio, how is it that you've been able to survive for 50 years? Well, there is a little secret, and the secret is what I found over the years is that as the years went on, I had to park my car further and further away from the hospital. So obviously it's taken me longer to get to the hospital, but it's made me fitter, and that's what survives. Thank you all very much.